In the summer of 1518, the city of Strasbourg woke up to what appeared to be a perfectly normal day. People went to work, merchants opened their shops, children ran through the streets, and one woman started dancing. Not celebrating, not performing, just dancing, alone, in the middle of the street. At first, everyone assumed she'd stop. She did not. Her name was Frau Trofea, and she danced for hours, then days, then weeks. No music, no joy, just relentless, involuntary movement. By the second day, her feet were bleeding. By the third, she was barely conscious. And yet, she kept dancing. At this point, medieval Europe did what it always did when confronted with something terrifying and confusing. It shrugged and said, interesting. Within days, she wasn't alone. Another person began dancing, then another, then another. Soon, dozens of people were dancing uncontrollably through the streets of Strasbourg. They weren't smiling, they weren't having fun, they were panicking. And somehow, their legs just refused to listen. This was no celebration. This was cardio against their will. Naturally, doctors were consulted, and medieval doctors had theories. After careful consideration and absolutely no understanding of neurology, they reached a conclusion. The dancers had overheated blood. Yes, their blood was too warm. And the only way to cool it down was more dancing. This was not a joke. So the city did something bold, something proactive, something catastrophically stupid. They built stages. They hired musicians. They encouraged the dancers to keep going. The logic was simple. Dance it out. Spoiler alert, they danced it into the ground. People collapsed from exhaustion. Some suffered heart attacks. Others died from strokes. And the music kept playing. At least several dozen people died. Possibly more. The streets filled with abandoned shoes, broken bodies, and a growing sense that maybe, just maybe, this treatment plan wasn't working. At last, the city officials tried something new. They stopped the music. So what actually caused this? Modern historians have two leading theories. The first involves bread, specifically rye bread. Medieval rye was often contaminated with a toxic fungus called ergot. Ergot produces chemicals similar to LSD, which can cause hallucinations, convulsions, and uncontrollable movement. So yes, they may have been tripping, in the worst possible way. The second theory is even stranger: mass psychogenic illness. In other words, stress. Strasbourg had just endured famine, disease, and extreme poverty. People were exhausted, terrified, and deeply religious. When one person broke, others followed. Their minds collapsed, and their bodies followed along. It wasn't possession. It wasn't demons. It was human psychology hitting its limit. As suddenly as it began, the dancing stopped. No cure, no explanation at the time, just silence. The streets returned to normal. Life moved on, and Strasbourg never spoke of it again, which is understandable, because explaining this to future generations would be awkward. The dancing plague of 1518 wasn't an isolated incident. Similar outbreaks happened across Europe. Because history isn't logical, it's human, and humans are capable of astonishing things under pressure. Sometimes brilliant, sometimes horrifying, and sometimes they dance themselves to death. Welcome to history. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to hit the like and subscribe buttons. Please also leave a comment below and let us know what other strange historical events you would like us to investigate.